Hey, Roosevelt, it's Mr. Shallert, your reading slash testing nerd, and it's time for our 8th SBAC question study. Thanks so much for your effort on these. Again, like last week, we're going to have 2 quizzes today. So when you jump into Schoology, you'll find them. Here's something I want to make sure that you do right now. When you're in Schoology, I want you to take a look at the reading for today, the question that you're going to be dealing with. Because you'll see, again, you're eventually going to write your answer. So it's going to be much better than that in here. You'll copy and you'll paste it into the quiz itself. So you should have this page out while we're looking at the slideshow together. Okay? That'll be super helpful. So let's go back to the slideshow and take a look at where we are. So again, we're getting ready because in about 2 weeks, almost exactly, depending when you're watching this, we have our ELA SBAC on Tuesday, May 17th, Thursday, May 19th, and the following week we have math and a little science test. Okay, let's get going. We're going to use our BDA, our before, during, and after on every question on the test. Before we read, we're going to scan and make sure we know what we're supposed to do. During our reading, we're going to make sure we have a clear purpose, and after, we're going to answer the question. So here's that question I was just showing you. And I want you to be really careful because somewhere in here is the question and somewhere is the reading, and they try to trick you. So very opening. A student is writing an argumentative essay. Okay, you're not writing one. Somebody did for the school newspaper about taking a gap year before starting college. Okay, I don't need to know what that is yet. Read the draft of the essay and complete the task that follows. Okay, so this is not the task. I have to jump all the way down here to where I wrote task. This essay is missing a conclusion. Write a conclusion that follows from the argument. Okay, so in this box, you're going to have to write a conclusion for this essay. Got it. Most of the paragraphs in here look like they're 4 to 6 sentences long, so I probably have to write about that much for my conclusion, and I better be clear on what they're saying so I can write a conclusion that makes sense. Okay, so that's my before. Now, here's our tip for today. The humans, because people are actually going to score these, not a machine, you're writing, they use a rubric. So let's take a quick look at the rubric. It says, to get a 2, which is what we want, you have to provide an adequate conclusion that, it follows from the claim, or it's a call to action. I guess they got to do something about it, or why is the claim important? But it doesn't just restate or summarize the argument. So you can't just read what you wrote here and sort of put it in your own words, okay? Notice the difference between these guys is that, oops, let me get that out of the way. The difference between these is that for a 2, it's adequate. For a 1, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. For a 1, it's limited, and for a 0, there's no conclusion. You could write something and still get a 0, so be really careful you follow the directions. Okay, so during, let's just quickly review this. Again, we have an argumentative essay, and it's about a gap year. And down here, it defines what a gap year is. It's a year-long break from study, like after high school, before college. Okay, sounds sort of like a bougie thing to do. But maybe you got a job. I know some students who've done that. There's some data here. There's even a counter argument where they say why the people who don't like a gap year might be wrong. But remember, from the rubric, as long as I support the claim or provide a call to action statement or provide an answer as to why this is important, my claim here that students should take a gap year, then I'm good. I'll get a 2. Okay, so now it's time for the after. And like I said, like last time, you're going to have 2 quizzes. So I want to show you the quizzes real quick. First part of the quiz, I'm going to give you some student responses to a different question. Okay. And you're going to have to tell me, is it worth a 0, a 1, or a 2, and then explain why you scored it that way. So there are 3 examples. Not to get too confusing, but let me show you where those examples come from. I've got it right here. Students had to read an article. Actually, that's the wrong article. They had to read an article about cars, about how cars changed America. So we're not going to worry too much about that. But just know these conclusions are either going to sound good or they're not. But the students had to read an article about how Henry Ford and automobiles changed America, and you're going to tell us, you're going to score some other student writing. Part 2 is where you get to do your own, right? And when you get there, you'll see it's got the usual questions. Who are you? And down here, you can copy and paste your answer from the quiz. So you're going to go back here. You're going to copy and paste it into your quiz response here. Okay, I know it's a lot, but you did really well last time, and we're anxious and excited to see how you do this time. Thanks so much. Make your best effort, and we'll see you on Thursday.